Guys, welcome to Mr. Hood's Art Room. Today we are going to do watercolors lesson 2. We're going to do 2 paintings today. One of them is going to be some birds, and then the other one is going to be a silhouette sunset. Again, both of them very, very easy, should be a lot of fun, and so here we go. As always, we want to start with taping our paper down. If you have painter's tape, great. If you don't, masking tape will work. I'm going to start with a little wet on wet, just about an inch across the bottom, just straight across the bottom. While the grass is drying, I'm going to start with some of these birds. Try not to get your paint too thick or too dark right away. We're just going to make some blobs. I'm going to make a purple blob to start, and it's a little dark, so I'm going to tap it with a paper towel, and again that will give you some really nice effects on it, and it also helps you keep it from getting too dark. Now that we've had a chance to let this dry, I want you to grab either a black pen or marker or whatever you have. And you're going to outline each one of these shapes, but take care to actually outline where the paint stops. And what I mean by that is, if it goes in or out, go in or out with the pen. Outline it so it is going to end up being a squiggly line. We want it to be that way. Once you're done outlining these circular shapes, we have to make them look more like birds. So you put a beak on each one as you want, and a wing or two as well. I don't want my birds to be flying, so I have to give them legs. And given how they are so far away from the ground, they are going to have very funny, long legs. I want to outline the grass a little bit as well, just so that it kind of has the same look as the rest of the painting. Spot up here on this blue bird, I needed to put the wings angling out, but I think I made the wings a little too small, and I also need to paint it. Now if you've used a permanent marker with this, it's not going to be a big deal because the watercolor paint won't make the marker smear. If, on the other hand, you used a water-based marker or pen, you're going to have to color these in with colored pencil. And I'll do one in colored pencil and one in paint so you can see. I think it's a little boring in the background, so I'm going to do another wet on wet technique, just to give it a little bit back here, and because I also taped off the edge, it should give it a neat finish when we're done. We also don't have beaks. I'm going to use colored pencil to do the beaks with. I'm just going to pick a yellowish orange color to fill in the beaks. We're almost done. We have to peel off our tape and then sign it. And there's our painting of birds finished. I hope yours came out well. Please send me a copy if you can. Now we're going to start our silhouette sunset. We're going to start this one with a wet on wet. And when we start that, cover your paper with just clean water. Doesn't have to be soaking wet, but you want it to be fairly damp. So I've got some water on there. Now I'm going to make our sun yellow in the center. And just paint a circle. Now I'm going to add an orange color to a stripe all the way around that sun. Now I'm going to add some red. Ooh, that's a lot of red. And it's starting to bleed into my yellow, so I'm going to tap it with a dry paper towel, and that will remove a lot of the paint. Once you have a few circles of color, then you can start going side to side with it. Change it up a little bit. Bring some of the color in from the side instead of doing it in a circular motion. Now that our sunset's dry, we can start adding the foreground or the tree. You can do this a couple different ways. You can either paint it or you can use black marker. It's entirely up to you. Use what you have. If you want to try, you can start with a paintbrush and then shift over to marker if you don't like what you get. If you're going to use a paintbrush, start up at the top of your page and work your paintbrush down in kind of a light zigzag until you get all the way down to the bottom of the paper. I ran out of paint about halfway through, and that's okay. I can always go back over it. Just like that. The reason you want to start at the top and work your way down is because a tree does that backwards. As it grows out, it gets thinner and thinner every time a branch separates. Well, we want it to get thicker towards the bottom. So by starting at the top and working your way down, you're actually going to make the tree thicker as you go down, instead of trying to go out from a trunk. Doing it this way will actually make your branches get thinner towards the top and look more like a tree. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Take your time and do your best. Once you've got the tree mostly there, you can think about adding leaves. I can hear a bunch of you saying, but Mr. Hood, you didn't really show us how to do it with marker. And you're right. So I made a second one, smaller, for two reasons. One, so I could show you that this does work with marker, and two, to do the next step, which is creating leaves and some other things, and I wanted to make sure that it would look good on our big one, so I wanted to do a test. So this is also my test page. Anyway, here we go with the marker. And there's our same tree done in marker. There's the original, and there's our tester. So now we have to do leaves. Now in order to do leaves, you're going to want to use a little bit larger paintbrush, and I'm going to push down gently. And what that means, or what it looks like rather, is I'm going to touch the paper and then drag it towards me and push down a little bit. And we're going to keep doing that, not too many, but just a few here and there, just to make it look interesting. And remember to start with a very gentle stroke, push down, and then lift up. Gentle, push. Gentle, push. So it's already starting to look more interesting. The leaves add something to the silhouette and stand out really nicely against our sunset. You can even have a few leaves just floating in the breeze, not even attached to the tree. I'm going to switch back to the larger painting and put some leaves down. I do need to add a ground down here, and that can be as simple or as elaborate as you want. You can make a straight line across. You can wiggle the line a little bit to make it look as if the ground is going up or down. You could even make it into a hill if you want to. Go up on the right hand side. To keep it interesting, I'm going to add some grass. And for that, I'm going to use a thin paintbrush, like that. I decided to add a couple birds up here in addition to the grass down here. I kind of like the way it looks, and it adds a little bit more to the painting. If you want, you can add any kind of silhouette you want. You could put a bird sitting in the tree. You could put a nest there. You could put a couple birds up there. You could have birds flying in the background. Anything you want to add to this, you're more than welcome to do it. Play around with it, experiment with it, have fun. That's what this is all about. The last thing, of course, that you always do is grab a pencil and sign it, bottom right hand corner. And there we have it. Let's pull the tape off slowly. And there's our second watercolor. Well, this is Mr. Hood. I hope you guys had fun with watercolor lesson 2, and I will see you next time.